So these are the solutions for the first practice quiz. Let's go back to so right here, and you'll get them right here in the third video once I get all this put together. So you're going to have practice quizzes galore. Well, I should say practice for your quizzes. And typically I'll let you use something. So I'm going to let you use this document here on your practice quizzes in your quiz. Probably not the domain and range stuff, since you can actually look down here too, since you should be able to understand that box technique pretty good, and the fact that the domain's always going to be all reals. Okay, so the first page, you're going to be given a quadratic in either vertex form or in standard form. So the first one is in vertex form. And this is going to open up because of our A values. So A is 1, H is 6, K is 3. And remember that HK is the vertex. Okay, pretty simple on that. And then you're going to use a graphing utility to put this in and look for the same patterns that I have shown you in the table. Okay, if they're there, if you can get the vertex to show. If not, you got to calculate it and start your table there. So I'll zoom in just a little bit. So 6, 3, and then I'll use 8, 7, and 4, 7 around it. There's my coffee maker. So 6, 3, and then 8, 7, and 4, 7. So you always have this little bit of symmetry going on. In the graph. And that's the graph of that quadratic. So these are tier 1 problems, and they're very simple for the most part. Usually one simple step. Here it's a couple simple steps, but you get the idea. Okay, same thing here. You're going to put this on the table, and you should always, these are the points I'm using here, you do not need to use my point, but you need to have the vertex point. You should always, as I was saying before, know which one of these 6 you're looking at. So that top one looked like this, and this bottom one is going to look like this here with the vertex on the x-axis. So it's important that you know what you're looking at. And then 0, 9, the y-intercept actually is its twin point. So it's curved all the time. It's kind of, think of it as holding water. Or if it's opening down, you're spilling water is a good way to think of it. Okay, second page, you are doing what we did in our 2 assignments. Except you don't necessarily have a picture of the graph to look at. So you might want to take a look at the table at some point when you're doing this. So this is standard form, and this is your A, B, and C. And when you either calculate it or look at the table, the vertex is going to be at 0, 9. And again, you'll see that pattern above and below it. And since this is A is -1, this opens down. So this is always associated with the A value. You do need to spend a little time looking at this. It's a little bit scrunched, but here it is. It opens down. A is negative. That means there's a maximum. I can really zoom in there. Okay, so you need to spend some time looking at that to help you. So we have a maximum at y equals 9. Axis of symmetry, that's 0. X-intercepts, this happens when y equals 0. And and that will be at 3 and -3. Okay, so you can again look on your table. The y-intercept happens when x equals 0, and it just so happens that it is the vertex. So sometimes the vertex can be the x-intercept, sometimes the vertex can be the y-intercept. So we're actually we're looking at this, but the vertex is over on the y-intercept is the only difference. Okay, so we're opening down with two x-intercepts. Domain is all reals in the range. Okay, so this is the top. Since it opens down, you can just do a little sketch. Just do a little sketch. And 0, 9 is the, so the top of the box goes through like that. So 9 is over here. You can also take a look at those notes. That will tell you. Okay, so we are opening down and we're just using the graph column here, so the max goes right there. We'll zoom in a little bit. So you can see the max goes there. And we're basically just working with just the graph. So there's that you can use also in helping you. All right, intervals of increasing and decreasing. Basically, you put a line through the vertex, and this is less than 0, greater than 0. So trace it out. So we're increasing less than 0 and decreasing greater than 0. The 0 here has to be from the x value of the vertex. End behavior is negative infinity, so they're both of the arrows are pointing down. Okay, problem 4 is in vertex form. There are your values. So remember that h is a subtracted value. So what I'm saying is that you have to have subtraction in there. So if you literally wanted to write it in exactly this form right here, that's what you have to do. So -2, -3 is the vertex. And since a is 1, this opens up. So I'll just do a little sketch here. And you can just label this, that if you want. So we have a minimum at y equals -3. So just think of that as being the lowest point. Axis of symmetry, x equals -2. X-intercepts, again, this is when y equals 0. So you can put that on your table. And this time, so this is where I'm going to make you work. This time they don't show up. So you either have to calculate them, use your zero finder, or do this. Okay, h plus and minus the square root of -k over a. What does that look like? Well, so h is -2 plus and minus the square root of -k over a. I suppose I'd let that, I keep that. I'd let you do that. They're going to be decimal values on my answer key though, so -0.27 and -3.73. So if you can't see the x-intercepts on the table, that's going to happen, and every once in a while I'm going to test you, or the vertex, or any of these, then you have to go to the page of notes to calculate. So y-intercept, that is going to be when x equals 0, or you can go calculate it, and that is going to be 1. My nice little advertisement again. Maybe that's just trying to time me to tell me I'm going too long. Domain is all reals. Range, so we would have the bottom of the box going through there. So that means on the left side, -3. And then intervals of increasing and decreasing. So we do this. And so this is less than -2, greater than -2. So trace it. Decreasing is less than -2. Increasing is greater than -2. And behavior, both of the arrows are going up. So positive infinity. All right, tier 3. So if you get all the problems right to that point, you have an 80%. But of course, many of you want better than that. So we have to move on and do these correctly. So this is where you extend your knowledge. It's really simple, but it's an extension of your knowledge. So -711 and 311 are your two twin points. And then you have a vertex point wherever, let's assume it opens up, that's halfway in between. And so you need to figure out what is the x value of this. We can't really figure the y value out, but we can figure out what that is. Again, because of the symmetry. So you add and divide by 2. So -2 is that x value. So this is explaining it, adding and dividing by 2. That's what I want you to do. There's the other way where you're given the vertex on one of the points, and then you have to find the other point. So this is getting beyond the whole idea. So here we go again on 6 with the whole table thing. Here's your vertex, so that means above and below. So like if you're looking at it vertically, just rotate the numbers 90 degrees to the right, and this would be 16 here. So it's that pattern that I try to show you on the table, above and below that y value of the vertex. And that is the first practice quiz. There will also be practice quiz 3, which you can access.